Welcome to Locked On Bulls. I'm Haize. That's Pat the designer. Today's episode is presented by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. And on today's episode, me and Pat will be talking about what has happened to our Chicago Bulls. All that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Pat, listen, when we left here, we had some optimism. We talked about the Bulls possibly gaining some momentum. But one thing, and the thing that I love about me and your dynamic is that we're both Bulls fans through and through. We live and breathe this team, but we're very realistic, right? And both in our respective shows, we talked about the fact that, a lot of Bulls fans got overconfident in thinking what the series was going to look like once they heard Middleton went down. When you corner an animal, they either cower or they come out on full attack mode. And unfortunately, the last two games, games 3 and game 4 in Chicago, we saw why the Milwaukee Bucks are clearly the better team, why they have a transcendent star on their team. And unfortunately, we leave with another sour taste in our mouth with the end possibly of Chicago Bulls home games. Pat, game 3, game 4, where has this left you spiritually as a Bulls fan?
It sucks. It leaves you wanting more. You felt like you had an opportunity, maybe not to take over the series, but I said you could turn this thing on its ear because of the opportunity that Middleton wasn't going to be there, but you had to do it by stepping up in the biggest moments and keeping that defensive intensity that we saw in the first two games. And we just can't say that we saw that. The Bulls looked lackluster. The Bulls looked like they were outmatched, outplayed, outclassed. They looked like a 6 seed. And here's the thing: coming into this, I said the Bulls would go 4-2. And I mean, there's still an opportunity they could do that, right? You catch fire, you're able to knock down some shots for a game. It could still finish out 4-2. You never know where the series goes from there. I'm not one of those people that's like, hey, this thing it's over, it's done, we're cooked, we're finished. But for me, right, it's like you haven't shown us enough to have confidence that you're going to get the job done. In that game 2 versus the Bucks, the Bulls showed you a lot of things to give you confidence. They were knocking down their shots. They were making Milwaukee stretch their defense out. They were making Milwaukee do a lot of the things that made Milwaukee uncomfortable. But in that game, they did not have Bobby Portis. They did not have a Chris Middleton playing well. The last two games, we can't say that. They still didn't have Chris Middleton, but Bobby Portis, one of my guys said Bobby Portis was, he's a Bucks fan, was their version of Kevin Garnett. I'll tell you what, he looked a lot like Kevin Garnett versus us out there. 18 points, 16 rebounds in game 3 versus the Chicago Bulls. How's he follow that up? What's he do on the flip side of that? Today, 14 points, 10 rebounds.
And the thing is that I said this too, is that Bobby Portis getting hit in the eye and then listen, Bobby Portis is one of those people
you knew it was gonna fire him up.
If you're gonna hit him, you have to make sure he's down and out, because it just fired him up. Listen, Bobby Portis, and I think people forget this too sometimes. The way in which he was traded from this team, when he was at that time the vocal leader and heart and soul of this team, he is out to kill the Chicago Bulls
every time,
every single time he plays us. And then you hit him in his eye, he has to miss the rest of the game. They lose that game. Now Bobby Portis is coming back for blood. On top of that, Giannis he had a stretch. What was it? I think it was it the third quarter in this game where Giannis just went off. Giannis, we still have yet to see a transcendent series from Giannis where he just averages 40 points. But guess what? When you have a team around him like this that can knock down the shots and do the type of things, and Drew Holiday chips in 26 points in game 4, and Grayson Allen, who seems to own the Bulls, is 6 for 7 from 3-point range and 10 for 12 overall from the field with 27 points, you ain't got to do 40. But that 32 and 17 and 7 that he had looks pretty dang good, right? the thing is that this Chicago Bulls team, we had an episode titled this, they are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
And they are who they showed us they were in the second half of the season. Yes, the first 2 games of the series, they came out with a different type of energy. They came out with a different type of defensive intensity, and you love to see it. This team, hopefully over the course of this offseason, is going to look at how they can maintain that and make that a more staple part of this team night in and night out. But guess what? They're not there yet. And at the end of the day, this team did not have it. Coming into the series, we expected it. I know we got caught in the hype of them winning game 2, and I'm glad that they won a game. I'm still glad that they had this series. I'm still glad that the series is going to go 5-6 games, however long it is, because they still need that experience. But guess what? This team was not ready, prepared, coached well enough. Everything that you can look at, every aspect of basketball through and through, they showed us who they were. And when the people show you who they are, you have to believe them. And unfortunately, this team just was not ready for this series. This team was not ready for a playoff run. And, we'll talk about it at some point. Luckily, we have AK and Eversley in the front office. But this team is just, hey, man, listen, in the moment that Alex Caruso went down, he was our defensive intensity.
Yeah.
He was the one who was able to get some offensive foul calls on Giannis Antetokounmpo. Once AC went down, and we then had to go back to rely on Ayo Dosunmu, who hadn't played a lot of minutes this series, the writing was kind of on the wall, brother. The writing was on the wall.
The tough part is, right, everything else I expected. Drew Holiday, 16-6. I expect that. Shooting at 7 for 14. Giannis didn't even do that much today. Is this today's game? Hold on, let me double check.
Today he had 32.
No. Today's game, game 3. Giannis didn't even do that much. He was 18-11 on that. Today's game, Giannis 32-17. My bad. Drew Holiday today, 26-2. Still something I expect. Drew Holiday is very slept on as a point guard in this NBA. Bobby Portis 14-10. Something I expect. I'll tell you this: I didn't expect you to all of a sudden start keeping Brook Lopez under wraps. That's where you feel like you have a good shift in this team. But then you allow Grayson Allen in back-to-back nights to reach his career playoff high. He went 6 for 7 from the three-point line, had 27 points. And let me tell you something, most of those three-pointers were wide open. You had the same issues you've had all season. You had one game where you were able to kind of get away with that, which, listen, some of the lower teams are. When you don't have enough talent, sometimes you can hype yourself up. Sometimes you can get yourself going enough to get that, let's play like this. Let's show them we're meant to be here. Let's show them. But at the end of the day, if you don't have that transcendent player on your team, you are going to have a tough time beating a team that does. And right now, there's not a lot of people in this NBA that are going to beat Giannis. There's not a lot of people in this NBA that are going to beat Drew Holiday. Not to say Drew Holiday's transcendent, but when you put those two together, and this is the thing about the Bucks, right? It's a lot of pieces that are on other teams by themselves. You'll be like, that's a nice piece. But with Giannis in the middle, it changes everything. And the Bulls just weren't able to overcome that. That's the biggest thing right there. And so for me, right, like, there's a lot to look at in this series. I'll be honest with you, as bad as it has been in these last 2 games, there's a lot of good to look at in this NBA series. But at the end of the day, it comes down to they're the freaking NBA champions. You don't have the talent right now to meet up with what they have, and Giannis is really, really good. He's probably the best player in the NBA, and Muggs don't want to pass the mantle on to him.
Well, he's going to take it, and that's what I think is going to happen. One thing before we head and go into the next segment, Bobby Portis, Zach LaVine got into a little bit in this game.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you to see a player who's all but certainly get a max contract, who's going to be here for a while, in his first playoff series, get a little testy like that and knock back down from the bigger player? Does that do anything positive for you at all?
NBA toughness is interesting, right? Because, like, clearly nobody's going to fight in that situation. Zach LaVine, I'm going to be honest with you, I've seen Bobby Portis break somebody's orbital socket. You might not want to pick that fight in that situation. Yeah, I'm saying, like, it's at that point in the game, right? It's I'm pissed off at the moment, and you've got me in a headlock. It's not something that we've seen from the Bulls enough for me to be excited about it, for me to read anything into it. It's not something we've seen from Zach LaVine enough. I mean, we've seen these guys get knocked to their butts. And I said it in this game. I was like, there's no way that you should allow your star players to be hitting the ground as much as you do and you're not doing anything back. There's no way that you should be allowing your star players to go through what they've gone through this season. AC getting snatched out of the air, Zach LaVine dealing with multiple injuries and always getting bumped to the floor and nobody, going over to say, I mean, it could just be the era we from, and now that basketball is no longer a thing. But I'll tell you this: there's some players in this league that don't stand for it. Bobby Portis being one of them, Draymond Green being one of them. I don't know if we have that player on this team. I don't know if we have that mentality on this team. Seeing Zach do that meant nothing to me. It was at that point you're down 20 plus. You were down 30 almost at that point. You know what I'm saying? So it's something to see.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So next we're going to talk about after this is what, if anything, could have changed the outcome of these last two games. But first, I got to talk to you guys about Athletic Greens. So Athletic Greens has a product that I literally try to use every day. I started taking Athletic Greens and AG1 specifically because I wanted more energy. With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Listen, I still don't know what adaptogens is, but I mean, after my knees with a little sickness, I probably need a little bit of that to help you start your day right. The special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All and everything that you possibly need. It costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold season. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NBA Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NBA Network to take ownership over your health and pick the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Bam. Pat, we got to talk about it, man. So it's easy for us to sit back, look and evaluate this game, talk about what went wrong. But the question that remains, the question is going to be on a lot of Bulls fans' minds until next season starts, and hopefully we see this team play better, is what, if anything, could have changed the outcome of these last two games? Is it Lonzo Ball being healthy? Is it, the team just making a move at the deadline? Is it something like that? What, if anything, could have made this team and changed the outcome of this series that we've seen so far? Pat, what do you think?
Nothing. Lonzo changes game one for sure. You probably win game one. We're talking about a difference in the series. Lonzo changes having that point guard depth and not having to start AC, and even if AC goes out, you know what I'm saying, then you got Ayo Dosunmu coming in like that changes that dynamic for sure. But your stars have to be stars, right? And the defense that the Milwaukee Bucks have put in place, what the Milwaukee Bucks have done on a consistent basis here, and how they changed it, how they've gone large, even with Lonzo in, right? The loss of Chris Middleton, a lot of people would have said changes a lot of things. But I told people before this even when we got to game 3, I expected them to start Bobby Portis and go with the larger lineup. And that has been a weakness of the Chicago Bulls all season. Vooch is down there doing everything Vooch can, trying to get I mean, he's been the probably the best player in this series for the Chicago Bulls as a whole. Doing a great job on the rebounding tip and stuff like that. But the Milwaukee Bucks have played excellent defense consistently. How Drew Holiday has played Zach LaVine in these 2 games, really causing him havoc. DeMar DeRozan has disappeared. I try not to buy into the whole DeMar DeFrozen thing, blah, blah, blah. But he does need that space for him to operate. And it seems like in the one game the Bulls were able to knock down the 3, guess what? He scored 41. The Bulls don't have enough people on this team to knock down the 3. The Bulls don't have the pieces on this team yet to make Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan's life easier when they're trying to attack the bucket. I mean, Zach, how many times do we see Zach drive to the bucket, get his shot blocked? And then if Vooch isn't knocking down the three ball, he's down there with Bobby Portis, Giannis, and Brooke Lopez. I'm sorry, the best big man in Joel Embiid would have trouble with those three down there. We see what is happening to Jokic right now over in Golden State. He would have trouble down there. So there's not much. You were kind of behind the eight ball in this series when you came into it feeling like you weren't going to shoot the three well, because we didn't see them close out the season shooting the three very well. And as you got into the series, you knew after playing Milwaukee 4 times this season, you had to knock down that three ball. And right now, I'm gonna be real with you, like, if Kobe White can't do that, if Io did it a little bit, we saw P. Will have a little bit of a burst today, and he was able to kind of knock that ball down. But you don't have anybody that can be that spark, that shooter, that spreads the floor, that changes how they play defense. There's not much you could have done in this series, to me, to negate anything happening. And I don't think there's a trade we would have made that would have negated anything. We wanted to go get who? Jakob Poeltl? Or you're going to send P. Will for Christian Wood? We already know AK is not sending P. Will for anything out here. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's not much that could have been done coming into this, to me. And I don't think there's anything that coaching-wise that could have been done either. Like, how many open shots did we miss?
So there's a lot of things that went wrong in this series.
Yeah.
And that's why I use the thing of they were who we thought they were after the break, because they went back to that version of the team. Is there some coaching issues? Yeah. Is there some issues with the players? Yeah. Is there some issues with not knocking down open shots? Absolutely. But when you look at, like, and you ask the question, or I presented the question, I guess I should say, what could have changed the outcome in this season with this team, how it currently is, with Zach being hobbled? Alex Caruso still wasn't 100%, even though he was giving great effort. Nothing. Yeah, it's easy to say, hey, well, the Bulls should have hit more shots and played better defense. We could have been in this series. Yeah, it's easy to say those things when they're these theoretical things, right? But when you put it into practice, like, okay, play better defense. All right, what do we need to do better? Because Grayson Allen literally was unconscious, right? They have the best player in the world in Giannis. And that's not to excuse what we saw from this team. But let me be clear here. I'm not happy at all with what we saw from this team. This team needs to play better. This team needs more season, and this team needs to be coached better. All those things are true. But to expect all of those things to all of a sudden miraculously become positives for us when they've been negatives for us since the All-Star break is just asinine and ridiculous. And it wasn't going to happen. It was not going to happen. And excuse me, as we took a look at what this team can do going forward, what this team needs to focus on in the offseason, we definitely need a better bench. We need a more consistent bench. We need better defensive intensity. We need a lot of things. Some things are going to come with progression. This game, we saw P. Will get 20 and 10 in this game, right? 20 and 10. Does he need to be more aggressive? All these type of things that we want to see from anything that we can see coming from internally from this team progressing had to come through this team losing in the playoffs this year.
Oh yeah.
It had to. It had to. I've said it before. Growth comes through failure. So we needed to fail. We needed to see, hey, listen, this DeMar DeRozan ISO in the middle 5 pump fakes, that's not going to work if we want to be a successful team. It may get us some pretty wins and some fun wins in the regular season, but when it comes to crunch time, we need more than that. And I expect this team to address and answer a lot of these things in the offseason.
I do too. And I think there are some positives that you can take from this, like you said with P. Will. To me, that's a positive. What we saw from him over the last couple of games. Well, not last game, but game 2 and what we saw in game 4 today. What we've seen from him kind of towards the end of this season, I guess you maybe wonder what he would have been like, right, if he's healthy and at this point in the season. But I mean, honestly, like you said, dog, there's not much that I look at on this team as it's currently constructed and say, yeah, that would have changed everything for us. And the biggest issue right now is that you just don't have the dogs to fight with them. We talked about the Milwaukee Bucks in our post-game show yesterday, and it was about how they go 8 deep, sometimes 9 deep if they need to. The loss of Chris Middleton made them 8 to 7 deep. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the Bulls go 5 deep, and you had guys playing 40 plus minutes, and you had guys that were going to have to get out there and have to put everything on the line for them to be successful. So right now, as the roster is currently constructed, do you have some pieces that could be a part of you taking that next step? Yeah, a healthy Zach LaVine to me is still a top player in this NBA. I don't forget the things that we saw when he was healthy and doing what he was able to do. DeMar DeRozan to me, I think the biggest change that needs to come, and I'm gonna say it right here before we get into the next topic, he's got to become the number 2. He's the number 1 on this team right now. He's the number 1 on this team right now. Zach LaVine has to find it in himself to take the alpha role. DeMar DeRozan has to be the 2, because what Zach LaVine does is more important to DeMar DeRozan being successful than what DeMar DeRozan does being more important to what Zach LaVine does to be successful. So it's going to be a long off season. I mean, we still got more games to talk about. Like, I just feel like, not to say that the Bulls are done. I honestly think the Bulls could come out and get a win in game 6, game 5, my bad. Just because when, like you said, when your back's up against the wall, it's when you play at your best, it's when you play your hardest, it's when you play your hungriest. I honestly feel like the Bulls could find a way to get a dub and get another opportunity to play on the United Center floor, and then you never know what's gonna happen. But at a minimum, it does not change. Don't hear me wrong. I agree that it looks bleak, but even if we do win enough games to win this series, it does not change the issues that we currently have in place and the issues that have plagued us not only in this series, but the entire last half of the season. But hey, we got to get it right. And guess what? Built Bar got to get you right. So before we get into this next topic, man, let me tell you about Built Bar. This is the time of year. Normally, I mean, at this point, New Year's resolutions are over with, right? Like, it's done. We back to eating pizza. We slamming Italian beefs. I had one tonight. I'm not going to lie to you. It's tough. But when I wake up in the morning, guess what? Built Bar is going to be there to help me out. I just ordered a brand new packet of Puffs out here. Mint chocolate chips. Stop playing with it. If you haven't ordered the Puffs, you are missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. The Puffs are a fan favorite, and they are covered in 100% real chocolate. It's a low-calorie, high-protein replacement for your candy bar. They're better than a typical candy bar that has anywhere from 300 calories. Most Built Bars only contain 134 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. So here's what I need y'all to do, man, because at Built Bar, they worry about the taste. They make it taste good first, and then they figure out how to get healthy. So go to BuiltBar.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off of your order. Use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com.
There you have it now, Pat. Last topic of the day before we go home, before we send these beautiful Bulls fans home to really think about it. We got a long stretch. The Bulls don't play again until Wednesday. Yeah. So we got a long time to sit and marinate on what could have been, should have been, what happened, all that good stuff. But the question that a lot of Bulls fans are asking, the question that is on the tips of the tongues of a lot of Bulls fans' mouths, not only is Zach LaVine worth the max contract, but will this performance in the playoffs affect his max contract? I'm going to start this one off just because I got something simple to say, and I'm going to move on. Zach LaVine is getting the max contract, not just because of this. Keep in mind, still playing with this knee injury that people don't know really what's going on with, but also because of the years that he put in on this team, dealing with so many change of coaches, dealing with an unstable front office, dealing with everything that he had to put up with, and the fact that he's still here, the fact that this team was built for Zach LaVine. The question, I'm one of the people who, whether I agree with it or not, I like to put my energy in realistic things that could matter, right? That's why I don't talk about the Bulls possibly trading Patrick Williams, because guess what? This front office is trading Patrick Williams. One thing you will never hear me say is, are the Bulls going to give Zach LaVine the max? Is because guess what, people? Zach LaVine is getting the max contract. Like, that's it. That's it. There are a few things. To quote Nas, it's already written. That's it. That's it. Go ahead, Pat.
No, I agree with you 100%. Not to say that I don't think that there are some things that Zach LaVine can't work on this offseason, ball handling being one of them. Good Lord. Would love to see you be able to hold on to the rock for a little while. But, you know, people look at Zach LaVine just in totals, and I look at Zach LaVine different. I look at Zach LaVine as a winner. or I guess I shouldn't say a winner as we keep losing, but I look at Zach LaVine as somebody who wants to win no matter what his numbers look like at the end of the day, which is why I think we've seen him take the back seat to DeMar DeRozan. But you look at Zach LaVine in the playoffs here, 18-10, game 1, 18-10-3, game 2, 21-3. Tried to focus more on scoring, tried to be that 3-point shooter that the Bulls needed. Game 4, 15-5-5, probably the worst game he had all series. But still, you see him trying to do some other thing to get the team involved outside of scoring. But today, 24 points, 13 assists, 5 rebounds. The thing that I see is Zach LaVine is willing to do anything the Bulls need. That's the kind of player I need on my team. And there are two things that go into this. One, Zach is doing this legitimately as we see him limping on the court. And I know there's a lot of Bulls fans out there that will say, well, you got to play through it. They did this and they did that back in the 90s and the early 2000s.
But you know what? Those are the same people who call off work when they stub their toe on the table.
I beat it, and you beat me to it.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm saying like you calling off work with a tweaked knee, talking about, oh, I can't walk today, boss. Like, whoa, I saw you cutting your grass yesterday. But yeah, there's that, and then there's also the aspect that I think a lot of Bulls fans don't look at, right? There's a respect factor between organization and player. I know with a lot of organizations, we don't see that. With a lot of these stars, we don't see it as much. James Harden kind of just leaves whenever he wants to. LeBron James just blows up every team he goes to. But you can't not offer Zach the max and feel like other free agents are going to look at you with that respect. And you see how quickly, like whether Bulls fans remember it or not, AK has been here 2 years. We won the offseason. We got the best free agent, had the best free agent class come to our team. He's done a great job at drafting pieces. We've got Ayo Dosunmu. We've got Patrick Williams that we feel is coming into something here. Maybe we don't like how aggressive he is on trades, but either way, right? Like, you've changed the entire perception of your organization in a 2-year span. If you don't trade Zach LaVine, players will absolutely look at you and be like, you let him go through all of that and then you sent him on his merry way. Why would I come play for you? And if you think they won't, I'm telling you, it may not still be the Jordan stigma that was in the 90s and how the early 2000s went with, why would I play with you? Y'all wouldn't pay Jordan.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely an entirely new environment. And if you turn your back on Zach LaVine, the players that have come up and watched Zach LaVine come up in the league will absolutely look at you and be like, no, why would I come there? Y'all didn't pay him, and he gave y'all everything he had.
AK was hired on April 13th, 2020. We are freshly 2 years, and he has completely remade this team. I know it sucks with the way that the season ended, but a big part of that, a big linchpin in that, was Zach LaVine. Now, Patrick Williams is as well. They do see Patrick Williams as a big part of this future, but Zach is getting the max. And to Pat's point, the one thing that I will say is that, yes, Zach needs to clearly get back to being the one. And it may end up being that the Bulls need a player as good, if not better, as Zach LaVine to pair with him to truly be a championship team. Now, is that player maybe eventually Patrick Williams? We'll see.
Yeah.
But with that, all that being said, it all ends with the same thing. Zach LaVine getting a max contract and being here for the next 4 to 5 years, if not longer. Period. Period.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing, right? Even if you don't think Zach's the number one, Klay Thompson makes a lot of money. Bradley Beal makes a lot of money. Name whatever second that you feel is on a team. They all make a lot of money. There's nobody not making money in the NBA. Hey, Rudy Gobert makes $200 million. They don't even pass him the ball.
The downfall between him and Donovan Mitchell one day, I need to see the documentary.
Bro, no, my favorite part is the one time he passes them the ball, they win the basketball game.
Yeah. Bro, that hey, listen. And for anybody who wants to see some interesting stuff, just go and watch the way Donovan Mitchell, even when Donovan Mitchell was not in the, when Donovan Mitchell was on the bench, watch the way he looks at Rudy Gobert. Just watch it. It's some of the most entertaining thing you'll see. I'm telling you,
bro.
But I'm sorry, we're a Bulls channel. Let's focus
we
on Bulls.
are, but it's so funny. Hey, then we might be talking about Rudy Gobert as a Bull. We'll see. The offseason gonna be interested, man. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but yeah, Zach's gonna get the max. It's gonna be fine. The biggest question mark for me, which I will say, and I will agree with Bulls fans on this point at a minimum, right? Can you be healthy enough to be worth that? Because we are talking about a season where, yes, you fought through injury, but those injuries clearly limited the talent and the success rating of all of us.
And I think people forget too, before the initial thumb injury, Zach was having as efficient a season as DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
They were having a great 1-2. And then even after the thumb kind of settled, after he got that week off that one time, he got back to being that. Then when the knee and back thing started, that's when we started seeing a decline. Listen, Zach is going to be fine. Yeah. I'm telling you guys, Zach is going to be fine. Now, will the knee injury thing become something that they have to manage in the second half of seasons for the rest of his career? Well, that remains. There's a possibility of that. I want to act like there's not. But at the end of the day, like I said, Zach.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
I can live with that, right? Like Joel Embiid was sitting back-to-backs heading into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Before the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can live with, hey, we've got to manage this guy's knee because these regular season games. Hey, by the way, because we're at the point where these regular season games don't mean anything to us anymore. Yeah. Think about that, Bulls fans. These regular season games, they mean something to a limit. But it's all about getting back to the playoffs again.
Definitely. And that's it. That's it. You got anything left, Pat?
Nah, man. I'm amazed that we got 30 minutes of content out of what we saw this weekend. So shout out to Bulls Nation, man. Least knowledgeable Bulls fan in the world over here. So shout out to y'all for pulling up and showing love as always, man. We appreciate all the love.
I'm letting y'all know right now, and I don't care because somebody may be like, y'all too much work. Y'all come in my co-host again in the comments. Petty's letting it spray. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'm gonna leave it at that.
Out here, y'all know. Hey, we all upset. We in a hurt relationship right now. You know what I'm saying?
That is true. We have been in an abusive relationship with the Chicago Bulls. Well, Pat, man, go ahead and give him the social media, man. Let's get up out of here.
Hey, man, follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. That's PATTHEDESIGNER. Yes, I did go to public school. They taught me how to spell. Also, follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls.
And you can follow me at CEO Haize, at CEO HAIZE. I know we have not gone into the mailbag for quite a while. We're just gonna be real. It's been a little minute since we went into the mailbag, but that's coming around. We'll be going into the mailbag. The number to do that is 331-979-1369. But this has been another episode of Locked On Bulls. Thank you for joining us. We love you guys. We out this mug. Peace, y'all.
Peace.